Warm greetings. Welcome to today's session on Women in Architecture. The discussion on women in architecture is about understanding the nuances of being woman in the profession, and it is placed in the larger purview of being in the diverse fields of the built environment for those women who started their career with architecture education. This session is conducted with the support of Eco Development and Research Cell, a not-for-profit initiative of the Environmental Design Consultants, Ahmedabad. My name is Mansee Bal Bhargava from the House of Environmental Design Consultants. We are glad to take up this study with the women engaging in the practice and the pedagogy of the built environment in order to celebrate the presence and the participation of women in shaping the built environment in various possible ways. In here, the objective is to learn, document, and disseminate the biographical journey of women who chose to practice research, education, arts, activism, and a mix of many of these in a many different approaches, and we can sum it up as multi or transdisciplinary approach to chart their career path. Through the study, we wish to acknowledge and appreciate, besides understand, the critical points that need to be addressed at individual, institutional, and collective levels as what makes or breaks or tweaks the career of women architects in the country. The study allows us to implicitly understand how women maneuver their current and future aspirations and life goals, but at the same time, build role models through them for the current and future generation. It's a call for action to realize the need for equitable architectural profession in order to advance towards a sustainable built environment. Needless to say, but the presumption of this study is that the profession is heavily patriarchal, including led by men. So the methodology we have taken in this study is called autoethnography, which simply means that it's a life journey of a person, which is basically written by someone else, in this case, the researcher, and I'm sitting in front of you. The method includes a semi-structured open-ended interaction followed by developing a video series, and we have our past video series all open access. You can really listen to these wonderful, strong women about their views of being women in the profession. And also we hope to document them in the form of small coffee table book, which we would like to distribute to across architecture schools in the country. And to do the honor today, we do have Dr. Harveen Bhandari, and I do look forward to learning from her about her life journey. And thank you so much, Harveen, for taking out time and agreeing to do this conversation. I really look forward to it. But before I invite you, three things actually. Two, that we are live, and also we are going to record everything and write, as I mentioned, as part of methods. And importantly for me, that this is kind of a repeat because last time I could not take the appointment which we had for this conversation. So deep apology for it. I hope you are okay that we are going live and we are recording.
Yeah, I give you my consent for the live session.
Thank you so much, Harveen. We are going to have a very flowing, informal conversation. But before I invite you to the conversation, a brief biography of yours. Dr. Harveen Bhandari is principal and dean at PhD program at the Chitkara University. She got her doctorate in planning and architecture from IKG Punjab Technical University. Her areas of interest include cultural heritage, heritage tourism, vernacular architecture, and education, just to name a few, by the way. With more than 2 decades in the profession, she has published several papers in national and international journals and conference proceedings. She's been a PhD supervisor, technical committee member, and chaired sessions in several conferences, jury members for thesis, and has delivered expert talks at various national and international platforms. She is a recipient of many awards for her contribution to research and education in architecture. And as we can see, these powerhouse women, they really have a very, very elaborate and articulate career. And that is where we got interested to document all of you. I hope you are ready for the conversation, Harveen, because there's not much to talk about architecture in this study, but more to understand about you, Harveen, the girl, the woman, and the leader who is actually inspiring many people. So we want to hear from you the worries and the wisdom by the woman, for the woman, and of the woman in the built environment. If you are ready, we are also ready to get started. What do you think?
Yeah, yeah, let's go ahead. And thank you so much for taking me on board today. I really like the idea that you have in your mind while carrying out this research. So we can start.
Okay. Thank you so much for this opportunity to us, because we are also looking forward to reaching the 100. And for me, you are number 67, but I'm really looking forward. So I would like to take you to some years back, couple of decades back, when you were in high school. So we have to do a lot of refreshing button, back tracing, because often we, as women, we forget to talk about ourselves. What was the situation, conditions at home, with friend circle, with your an idea of life that brought you to architecture education, or you decided, chose to do architecture education?
Okay. So if you want to listen from my school days,
Yes.
I was born in a family, a big joint family. My dad
Mm-hmm.
was the eldest of the three brothers.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm the eldest in my siblings and my cousins. So my family back in 1995 also, and there that I can remember, I had a very outgoing family. My family comprises of all doctors, all people in medical
Mm-hmm.
profession. So my cousins also today also either they are gynae, they are heart surgeons, cardiothoracic department, and heading very good hospitals. And I was the one who was afraid of medical because I'm a very sensitive person. I always felt that I cannot really face a dissection, and doing it
Mm-hmm.
by my own hands was beyond my imagination.
Mm-hmm.
So that's how I chose non-medical. So
Mm-hmm.
had a little opposition from my family because everybody was in medical profession, but then they gave it a chance. They said, okay, you want to pursue something different, go ahead. So that's how I chose non-medical for plus one and plus two. When I completed my plus two, back in those days, I think there were just two professions the parents thought for their child. One
Yes.
was medical and the other was the engineering
Engineering.
profession, right? So as usual, my father said that you can go ahead and give the exam for the All India entrance test and try that. So I gave that exam, and unlike today, in those days we did not have a separate architecture exam. So I appeared, I got a good rank. I was getting some seat in a new college in CSC and an option in architecture in Bathinda. I have been born and brought up in a small place, Sri Ganganagar, which is in Rajasthan, very close to India-Pakistan border in Rajasthan area. So I chose to do my graduation in Punjab because I got a seat in Bathinda or one other college, which was back then in Punjab only because I cleared the exam called CET, which was the central entrance test for the state of Punjab. So somehow I felt I had an inner instinct and I asked my dad, I do not want to go in for computer science. Let me choose architecture. And in my family, nobody then had the idea what is architecture, what is she going to do. They thought, okay, she will make some plans, she would be able to make some drafts of a residence and would be able to earn a good living. So that's how they said, okay, fine, you can go ahead. And I took a seat in Gyani Jail Singh College of Engineering and Technology, Bathinda, in School of Architecture, which was then affiliated to Punjab Technical University, which is today known as IKJ Punjab Technical University. And I started my career, and I completed my bachelor's in architecture in 2003. And I was pretty happy what I was doing. I was exploring myself. I was doing the designing I could do. And I also felt architecture was a medium to express your inner self when you work on different design briefs, when you work on different issues, you try to solve a lot of problems and challenges. So I was kind of happy when I completed my bachelor's in architecture.
So interesting, as I understand from you, it was not that being girl, you have to do architecture, being, so there was not that kind of pressure. But of course, as you mentioned, coming from a background of a very highly educated family, at least there was some level of acceptance for you to do something related to the within the bracket of engineering and medical.
I would
I
rather
just
say a lot of acceptance for my preference. So
lot of
that was
acceptance for your preference. Very good. So I want to still take you there in the college days. And most of the time when I'm interacting, I'm also using as it as a reflective mode. So I'm in that sense, I'm actually 4 years senior to you. So
okay.
how was it in your college time? Because in my place in Bhopal and Gwalior, where I studied, teachers never made this distinction. I mean, I had some faint memory of making some remarks on being girl or being lazy sometimes, but not really a strong impact and making me realize that it is going to be different to be a woman in the profession. So I had no clue that it's going to be different until I actually graduated. How was it with you? When did it really hit you that being woman in the profession is going to be different, or it really didn't really occur uh, in college days? I mean, in your undergraduate and masters, because there has to be something to make you feel like that. So how was it with you?
Okay, so I believe the session today involves a lot of revelation of my secrets.
It's a
And
biographical journey. We are
yeah,
going to pick the beautiful
and
things
I'm
out of
on
it.
line also on live also. Okay. When I was completing my bachelor's, I was blessed. I never faced any kind of discrimination on gender basis because coincidentally, the head of the department was a female back then in Bathinda.
Mm,
And some of the senior faculty members, they were all married. Young faculty members, two couples, they had completed their bachelor's from the same college. So they had a lot of affinity for the students also, for
mm,
their work also. And I don't remember any kind of gender biasness, not in my childhood and not even in my bachelor's. But I completed my bachelor's in 2003 and I got married in 2004. My husband is a practicing architect
mm,
and he belongs to a typical business class family. And there is when that was a point I faced a little discrimination. I got married into a business family which was not used to women working in profession. They had a mindset that women at home, they take care of house, they take care of kids. That is what they should do, and that is how the family runs. So my husband is the youngest of three brothers. So for like 1 year we worked together. I worked as a co-partner in his firm, but things happened and gradually I realized this is not my place
mm,
because I was being shadowed under his work and his style. And whatever work I used to do, it used to be like, okay, this is a firm run by this architect and she is a co-partner. And sometimes my family members also had little reservations of me going on site late hours. How will she come back? How will she manage? She's alone. You need to accompany her. How will she talk to the clients? So that was the time I felt I need to make a way for my own self. It's my life.
mhm,
So I chose academia.
mm,
2009, I joined Chitkara School of Planning and Architecture. And before that, in 2007, I worked in another architecture college for a brief period of 2 years. And that also, I worked like 3 days because I had a daughter. She was very young. So I didn't
mm,
want to leave her entirely
okay.
in a crèche or to a maid. So I planned working so that I would come into line and I'll work for 2 days, 3 days, and gradually I'll pick up. So for 2 years, I did that, and my family supported me. They kept my daughter, my in-laws, and then I started working. But yes, I did face a lot of anger from my father-in-law. He wasn't happy at all that she started working on her own. She drives on her own to the workplace. I started working, and then I think for 2 months he was upset with me. And but then gradually he understood. He Because once I just sat with him and I said, ki, I can agree to whatever you say, but when you ask me that I should not work, I will not agree to this particular sentence, because I've done my qualification and I want to pursue my career ahead. So faced a little kind of retaliation from them, a little anger for a few years. But with years and time passes by, when my career started picking up and I started to be known among the architecture fraternity, so things changed gradually. But it did take long years. So when my faculty members today, they see me today, and when they ask me, and sometimes they're upset, ma'am, it's like this in the family. So I always tell them, see, everybody has to take their share of pain, but you need to have
Absolutely.
that courage to take ahead. You should not give up at any cost, and you should be ready to take challenges. So
Hmm.
that's how I.
Very interesting. And let me also share with you that it's many women in the profession. And if we take out the logbook of all male famous architects in the country and abroad, many a times this shadow behind the fame is always the partner, who is often the woman. Maybe not directly the life partner also sometimes, but then also there is a woman behind who is either managing the design, the office, the people, and the family and all. So we are all in the same similar boats. And that is also one of the reasons why we are doing these conversations, by the way, so that it reaches out to more and more women and men, of course, family members, that they increase their acceptance level. So what it might have taken you 4 years, 5 years, or 14 years, hopefully we are hoping that it will take 4 5 years or 4 5 months in the years to come, because this then we are normalizing these conversations and these life changes that society must accept. So family members family members not understanding is also a social situation, a social construction, where we have certain idea who is a bahu, or who is a bibi, or who is a ma or mother. And I think that takes time, and a lot of work is required by the woman who has to take that decision to move ahead, as you rightly mentioned. So in that process of taking that decision, I would like to know from you, and I'm sure you have mastered that process over the years. We tend to carry the baggage of superwoman. All those successful women eventually try to do everything perfect at profession, at home. So this whole syndrome of keeping everyone happy, or the syndrome of superwoman, and at the same time finding a niche to also carry out your passion, whatever passion it may be. There are only few women who are very lucky, who have passion and profession in convergence, and also having the fighting spirit, not fighting in terms of literal fighting, but walking with head clear and embracing heart. What is your mantra? How did you manage it, and how did you master it over the years?
If you ask me how did I manage it, I would say just one line, that something that whenever I used to feel low, and I used to tell
Hmm.
myself that I'm not going to give up.
Hmm.
I was not born to take this. I deserve much more, and I
Hmm.
need to rise up.
Hmm.
And one thing more that I thought was that this is my life and I need
Hmm.
to carve my own ways. I need to shape it the way I
Hmm.
want. So, taking up a lot of challenges, being in a business class family, a completely male dominated family where no other woman is working, and you step out and you say, I'm working, and then I'll be sometimes coming home 7 p.m., 8 p.m., if maybe I'm on site, and then you leave behind your daughter, I mean 3 years old, leave her to a crèche, pick her up in the evening. At times, there used to be a lot of baggage, a lot of things on my heart, because I'll just narrate one incident. I packed some lunch for my daughter. She was like 4 years old. I left her to a crèche and I went to my workplace. When I came back in the evening, she knew her mother was particular. So she said, Mama, I did not have my lunch today. I said, why, beta? So she says, because the auntie in the crèche, she made rajma chawal today and I wanted to eat that. So I asked her, can I get some? And she gave me. So that was one day I had so much guilt in my heart
Mm,
that my child wants to eat something and I'm at workplace and I'm not able to fulfill that. But gradually, Mansi, you won't believe, as time passed by, I felt that women who are working, they raise their children better because
mm,
their kids become independent at a very young age. They know how
mm,
to take care of their things. Like I used to go in the evening, she would pack up everything back in the bag. I gave her a bottle, some toys, some colors. So she would pack them all by her own self. So she learned that art of taking care of her things, assembling them, putting
mm,
it, and many other things.
mm.
But I had that guilt in my heart for many years that I'm working. And in the beginning years,
Many mothers carry that, by the
yeah,
way. And
in the
it's not only an
beginning,
architecture, but it's about motherhood.
it's for everybody. So in the
Mm,
beginning years of my life, when I used to board the college bus in the morning, often I had tears in my eyes because I could see her feeling
yes,
emotional that she's leaving and now
yes.
she will be back 5:30 and so. So, as I said, I joined Chitkara. I was blessed. I again had a women leader here.
Mm,
So, if you are familiar with the story of Mr. and Mrs. Chitkara, the founders of Chitkara School, they started their career from a very basic point, and today they are pioneers in their own field. So,
yes.
once I heard a session where Honorable Pro Chancellor Ma'am said she had two young children. So she said, "Ki I used to leave for my work, and it was early 7:30. तो मैं दोनों बच्चों का हाथ पकड़ा के भगवान भरोसे निकल जाती थी." So that was the time I really felt it touched me. I said, I have also done so many times, but that's the way of looking at it. There
Mm,
is somebody, there is God, there are people who will take care of it, but you have to move for yourself. So after that, I kind of did not have that big guilt. But today, when I ask my daughter, Ki, do you feel that I wasn't there? So she says, I'm proud of where you stand today. I have
mm,
a 20-year-old daughter. She's
mm.
pursuing bachelor's in architecture. She's in the first year. She's picked up architecture again, though I never wanted her to take up the same profession. There
We'll
should
come
already
to
two
that
architects.
question, by the way.
So, but she feels happy, proud, and she doesn't have any complaint of ever I was not there for her. So that's
Mhm.
my another strength that I have.
Very interesting. I would like to ask you a question on taking it further, this whole superwoman syndrome, and part of it is also the carrying the guilt around and, working around it to overcome that. And no, and usually it is you who has to work around it. Of course, there are people who are helping to work around and they understand when they see the efforts made by the woman, but just to take it further, this conversation here from there, uh, I'm sure there are moments when you have to take a call, and so often it is the woman who has to basically take the call of submission, or I will say sacrifice. I usually don't use the word sacrifice, but taking the back seat for reasons well known inside the members in the family, but also moments when the decisions are to be taken by you, so that everybody is at peace with each other. But apart from the personal decisions, there are also certain decisions we take professionally that usually affects personal life, and I would like to know some of the major decisions and moments that shape you today. One, you of course mentioned you started exploring academia, and from there, it's a completely different journey, and it shapes you today as an academician, researcher, and all. But do you think there are other moments that also makes or breaks women? You can also answer it from your experience of other colleagues and peer group or even juniors. What kind of situations really triggers in women's life at this age when we are building the career? Because you and I have reached a stage in our lives that it really we know how to deal with it now. But there are moments that we have reached here that we had to really sit and decide what to do next. Would you like to share something more than leaving for academia from the practice? Some decisions, someone who inspired. I'm just giving you some clues.
2009, I started pursuing my master's,
Hmm.
which was a part-time course. And
Hmm.
as I mentioned, my husband is also a practicing
Hmm.
architect. We both enrolled together.
Hmm.
We completed one semester together, but my daughter was very young, and the course
Hmm.
needed a lot of attention, a lot of
Hmm.
assignments, work, spending entire Saturday, Sunday on that.
Hmm.
And often it happened that the session would come to an end for that master's course in February. So my daughter is February born. So I remember three instances when it was her birthday in the evening, and in the morning I had to make my final submission for
Okay.
master's. So that was the time it was getting very difficult for me. So I am blessed. My husband supported me. He left his master's. He said,
Hmm.
we both cannot do it together. This is
Hmm.
injustice to our child. Somebody should be there with her because you're working late night. Because when I used to come back, I was working in the evenings and sometimes 12, 1 o'clock. So he left his master's and I completed my master's, and which is very important in academia, because without master's, I
Hmm.
wouldn't have taken up PhD. So, and today he still repents sometime that I could not do it. So I tell him, now you go and take ahead. Now I am there. I'll make your assignments.
Yes, why not?
So I think in marriage, you make sacrifices at both
Hmm.
the end for your
Hmm. Indeed.
career.
Hmm.
So if I made some sacrifices for his family, sometimes I did not work. I was not working for 2 years, which was like when I got to see my peers, I felt I was literally lagging behind in life.
That's
But my
also one
daughter,
issue which mothers and the newborn and mothers really face it after to come back.
yeah. So those 2 years I was at home. So I kind of sacrificed. So then it was his time. So he sacrificed his masters
That's
and
the
I pursued
balance
in
we
term.
have to
Yeah,
make.
that was the balance.
Mhm. When you chose to do certain areas of work because you have a specialization or interest areas in certain uh, are there people who influenced you, or how did you get inspired to work on vernacular, traditional, conservation? Are there people, or did you read something, or how did it come to you? Not coming from a background where people were really working into that area.
It was a very unusual thing that happened. My husband had to take up a project in a small place called uh, here in close to Chandigarh in Himachal Pradesh. So it's a small town, Chamunda. So we went there together. We thought it's
Mm,
going to be a good break for our family. It's a small place surrounded by a lot of hills. So when I went there, he was on site, he was doing his work. So one of our friends said, there is a very good popular temple here. Do you like to visit that temple? So I asked, what is so special about it? They say it is one of the Shakti Peeths and a
mm,
very famous temple. So this word Shakti Peeth was new to me. So we thought, let's go and visit. Peak cold winters. So we went to the temple. I saw huge rush, lines and queues of people, lot of parking kiosks. That was the time I just had a spark inside me. Why are people coming here? What is that pulls them here? And what time do they spend? So I was waiting in the line for like 1.5 hours. I
Mm-hmm.
completed the line, went, offered my prayers in the sanctum for like 3 seconds, and I was pushed out by the security people. And I said, this is not a sacred experience. This is not for what
Mm.
I came here.
Like most of the religious places we
Most
face
of the, and
now.
this was common.
Mm.
So that is when I got interested in religious tourism, sacred landscapes. And when I started studying, researching, I came to know it's a complete different domain. You call it cultural
Mm.
heritage. There are
Yes.
regulations, there are regulatory bodies. And then gradually it went on for me from that point. And I don't think I ever looked back after that. I picked up my master's thesis on the Chamunda temple. I proposed
Mm.
design strategies, submitted my plan to the temple authorities, and then I came to know that this was not just one temple. They are like 101 of these spread all over India, even in
Mm.
Pakistan, China, Bangladesh. So I picked up a very popular pilgrimage circuit in North India,
Mm-hmm.
which is Chamunda Devi, Jwala Devi, Naina Devi, Bajreshwari Devi. So these five temples for my study of PhD, and that is
Mm.
how I went further in the domain of heritage and conservation and so on.
So it naturally came to you. So I wish to understand from you, uh, because then I see that you really brought your passion and merged it with profession, which actually makes life of women easy in certain way, because then you don't have to spend extra time for your passion if it merges with the profession. You mentioned a few times about your spouse, and you can choose not to answer this question, but it is also something which you may respond based on your experience of your peer group, junior, senior, and all. Do you think it makes a difference to have a spouse from the same profession, or it really doesn't make a difference? Life experience of so many years.
I think some mixed opinion.
Okay.
It is useful to have a spouse from the same profession. I'm in academia. We can travel together,
Mm-hmm.
sometimes for conferences, sometimes for architectural meets, we go together. And at many times, I discuss my thesis students' site with him because he's in field and he can tell me, this is how the bylaws have changed, what is new, what you can refer to. So that ways it helps. Sometimes it is like a normal person, a normal male. Supposedly, I have a session in research because I have gone far ahead in research in architecture.
Mm-hmm.
When I picked up this domain, there were very few people, very few PhDs. I completed my PhD in 2019.
Mm-hmm.
So at that time, there wasn't much trend for PhD in
Mm.
architecture, though it was very common in other disciplines. But
Yes.
architecture, it picked up gradually. And because of my interest in cultural heritage, I kind of diversified it into heritage tourism, cultural heritage tourism. So all those domains. So those domains are like new for him.
Mm.
So sometimes he kinds of listen to what I'm saying, but sometimes he's completely unaware. So I feel like
Disinterested? Disinterested, probably.
sometimes he's interested. Sometimes he says I can't understand the words and terminology you're using, and I fail to understand what do you guys deliver in a technical session. When I tell him, okay, I have today a COA FDP to take on research or AI. So what will you deliver? He says. So sometimes he feels ki I do not know what she does. So it's a mixed kind of
Interesting.
feeling at different points of time.
Yeah. Do you feel having the spouse from the same profession is kind of a concentrated dose of eating, sleeping, walking, talking the same profession and not going beyond that? Or probably there are other members in the family who helps you to pull out of the profession. I can share that from my experience, because there was a time in moment where even going to any place we were just discussing the professional aspect of it. खाना खाने के पहले इंटीरियर्स का कलर से लेके लाइट फिक्सचर से लेके टेपेस्ट्री से लेके बिल्डिंग के एलिवेशन से लेके तो क्या खाया was completely missed out, and we did discuss this in our time कि no, this is not life. that you bring everything into the conversation. So I just asked because of that. Let me just take you to the next question from here and learn from you how did you over the years understand the different aspects of both psychological and physical aspect of being woman in the profession. And I can also probably add a little nudge this question a little bit here, because you are also experiencing what's happening in the practice and you are in academia for quite some time now. Do you think there's a difference in academics and in practice, the psychological and physical aspects of women, or how do they carry themselves, or how are they seen? Do you find any difference?
There is difference, but it depends on you, how you
Okay.
perceive yourself.
Mm-hmm.
If you value yourself, people will definitely value you. I have a lot of friends who are practicing architects.
Mm-hmm.
Something very interesting I'll tell you. We
Uh,
came across a few women architects and we
mm,
founded a WhatsApp group.
mm.
So now it has 250 plus women
Wow.
architects from Tri-City and also
Mm,
some from Delhi and other stations.
mm,
So from that 250, we were 10, and then we became close to like 6, 7 people. We often meet for coffee, we share our
mm,
experiences, we talk about what is happening in profession. So
mm,
adding on to your question, that you always talk, sleep, and eat architecture, for me, it's a passion because it has
mm,
given me everything that I wanted. So my
mhm.
husband is an architect, but very rarely we talk architecture.
Uh-huh.
My best friend, she's an architect. She's my colleague. She's dean with me there. So we kind of discuss everything. So again, somebody from architecture and this group of 10 females, a strong bonding between us. Again, all architects.
Mm, mhm.
So I feel I don't feel that key. I need to move out of architecture, and now
Okay.
eventually my daughter also coming into the same profession. So it's everything for me.
Okay, interesting. Very interesting way of putting it. And I think that's the way it should be. So if you have been in the profession in academia and also having a strong network of people, I'm sure you have also noticed the missing leadership or acknowledgement and appreciation of women architects in the country. You may disagree with me on this, by the way. When I was graduating in undergraduate and postgraduate, I only knew Didi contractors. Then, after a few years, Revati Kamat, Brinda Somaya, and there was a full stop. And I would like to share with you a moment when there are a few reasons why I'm doing this research. So when I started doing my secondary studies and work on this research, which is already now 4.5 years old, and I was already a public speaker and talking to many schools across the country. So every time I used to go and ask, name 5 women architects whose work you like or who is famous, or just women architects. So I will simplify the questions for the students. And I was never surprised that students could never name 5 women architects. And one of the reasons then I would give to them annoyingly as a response that aren't your women architect teachers are architects as well. So I'm saying this because there are many women who have taken academia. So I just wish to understand, and also I'm getting much more clarity with all these women who have been interviewed before, and I'm now going to hear from you. An architect becoming a teacher no more remains an architect. That was one of the points why I started doing this research. Probably it is also one of the reasons where are the women architects or strong-headed women architects or leading women architects missing. I wish to understand from you what is the reason that there are not many well-known women architects as compared to men architects. You may also tell me today by population there are equal number of women joining architecture, which means equal number are graduating. So the hardest question actually in this conversation is, where do women go after graduation? Where are they? Partly you also answered from your initial response, and that is also one of the reason in my case why I also started doing other things that I like to find my own life, is the shadow work. But I'm sure there are many more things, and now you have graduated so many people, you have so many friends. Where are the women architects or leading women architects of this country? Why are they not so much appreciated or celebrated from the time when we started? I mean, things are changing now, but still there is, I think, a shortage of well-known women architects. What do you think are the reasons?
I got to write a chapter in architect Surinder Baga's book, which is Form Follows Roots, Contemporary
Mm,
Architecture.
mm,
So there was a section in that chapter, Women in Architecture. And
mm.
the story begins right from 1980s when Chandigarh was built and Prime Minister
Yes.
invited Corbusier here. So
Mm,
here in Chandigarh, we often say Chandigarh is the output of a French master architect, Corbusier.
yes.
We talk about the housings, government housing in Chandigarh, and
Mm,
we claim them to his cousin Pierre Yonre.
mm.
But hardly people mention, and I would admit, even I somehow did not have that idea of
Yes.
the strong
Me also,
contribution
before
of
starting this research.
Luli Chaudhary and Jane Ray.
Yes. Mm,
When I started writing that
mm.
chapter, I came to know about so many women in architecture who were not
Yes.
well known. Leaving aside a few, as you've already said, Anupama Kundu, Chitra Vishwanath, they
Mm,
are a very handful of them.
mm,
So that was one time I felt, where are these women? Why are they
mm,
not able to project themselves? Secondly, when we made this WhatsApp group of 250 architects, we thought, let's meet. Not even 50% of them were working.
mm,
More than 50%, they just completed the degree, they got married, and they were like housewives. So we
mm,
thought maybe someday we can begin an initiative. We start
mm,
talking to them, we start helping them out and bring them back to profession.
mm,
But sometimes when I met a few of them, so the reasons were very obvious, that the family never supported them. They did not
mm,
want them to work because architecture, like hospitality sector, is believed to be a male dominated
mm,
discipline, a male dominated
mm.
profession.
Unlike, by the way, medical and law.
Yes, yes, unlike. Though today we are facing so many cases, we are seeing
Mm,
so many
mm.
cases of exploitation in the medical field also.
Yes.
But
Also in architecture, by the way, I mean,
yes, yes,
because I think we have got
architecture.
more common things to write and do together, as I learned from you. Yes, please go ahead.
So, some of my students,
Mm,
they completed their degree. They are, I would obviously not take the names.
of
They
course.
were, some of them were very brilliant.
Mm,
But after their marriage, they are happy to be just mothers, not doing anything, or just being part of some social group with women and enjoying their life. So sometimes, whenever we meet such students, we do tell them some of them are doing really well. So to promote them, we often do this in Chitkara. We invite our alumni back to our college. And sometimes, very often, we select women architects. So all those young women who've just now started working, have been working for 3 years, 4 years. So when they come and talk to our students, girl students, because there are today also in the new batch that we have recently got, there are more women in my class, more
yes,
girls.
that's also changing now, huh? Across the country.
Yes,
Oh my
that the
God,
trend
yes.
is changing. But more girls, but once you complete the degree, they vanish. They are not there
Yes.
in the field.
Mm,
So that fear of being exploited, I think a self fear of not being able to stand for your own self, and an idea that I may not be able to do all that a woman does on the site
mm,
if I go in a practice field.
mm.
So I have a couple of friends, when I asked them this question, we did a very interesting rendezvous session on a Women's Day, invited 3 women architects. It was a complete women's section that was gender biased. We asked the boys not to attend. So they even complained, why are we not allowed to? And I said, because we
Actually,
want
we
a
should now.
one-to-one talk.
Yes.
So there they explained those female architects, they're well settled in their life, they have a career of their own. So they talked about a lot of these challenges, that how they
Hmm.
faced, how they overcame those challenges, and what they feel today about career. So again, it depends. You meet some people who have faced a lot of obstacles and they give up, and there are some of us who have faced those obstacles but they never gave up. They reached the point where they wanted to.
Hmm. Very interesting. And I think that this is also one of the reasons why we are documenting and also trying to learn how did people cope up with these challenges, because we live in a society which is still patriarchal. Even though we get our girls and women educated, I mean, I also faced many places when I have gone and there are all women or 3 or 4 boys. But then I have also interacted or encountered situations where parents and also the girl child or the student child is telling that their education is only to get a good husband. And this is also something societal, not by the individual or by the family. So there is some certain norms which we are slowly transitioning from, but there is a long way to go. And we are hoping that this little research is a drop towards the transition to add and bring a change in the way we look at things. Having said that, um, I still wish to understand from you, even in academia, I'm sure there are situations which you may have encountered. You may give example and share with us. There must have been situations where you felt that in this situation, being a woman was better or is better. And I'm sure there are situations that you may have experienced where you felt, why I am here. Being a woman is really not a good idea. Did you really face this kind of self-assessment? I'm sure a few times, but it's up to you if you want to share.
I don't think for my career I ever thought that why am I here? Because I'm happy where I am and I do not want to stop learning. I want to go ahead and
Uh,
explore more things. I keep looking at the flyers of architecture wherever I see an interesting conference, a technical session. The first thing I do is I register myself and I travel. I go there, I meet people. But sometimes in the workplace, yes, when it's a complete male uh, meeting, sometimes you feel that, oh, okay, now I have to be more convincing and I have to present myself
Work harder.
in a more better way because otherwise they're not going to listen me. So
But
recently,
there are many moments. There are many moments in public platforms, because I see that you have also been to many public platforms. At least I also face it. All men sitting around, and I'm the only woman there.
yeah.
But is it a privileged situation that we at least managed to break the glass ceiling? But it is also a moment, an opportunity for us to tell them that there are women out there who can be invited. We
So
recently
I'll
did a
narrate a
campaign,
very
by the way.
very recent incident. I had gone for inspection of a college and I
Hmm.
was the Council of Architecture nominee.
Uh,
So when I entered the boardroom, I realized they're all men.
hmm.
8 men sitting together. It's a college in Punjab run by some of the SGPC officials. So I took a deep breath and I said, I will have to voice myself today. So the
Yeah.
interviews began. There were candidates. They had done some kind of scrutiny. So very comfortably, I would say, I was able to make my point.
Hmm.
And by the end of the meeting, they wanted me to sign some documents. I
Hmm.
said, I'm not going to sign these documents. I'm not convinced. If you furnish enough details, enough
Hmm.
proofs, I will sign. Otherwise, I will leave. Coincidentally, the trustee of the college appreciated this and he said to his men team, the male team, that there is something that you need to learn from this woman. She's made her point clear and blank that she's not going to sign the documents, whatever it happens, until and unless she's satisfied. So that time I felt it was good. I decided to
At
speak.
least
It
you
was
said.
good.
So I think it is also a matter of and also a responsibility for us to make the society realize where what's going wrong there, where can we improve. And I feel that is an extra responsibility when women like you have reached a situation in life or a leadership position. You own that responsibility to bring a change in the society, and everybody appreciates it in a way. It's just that people may not have noticed it, and you have to bring it to the notice of the people. I mean, I completely understand when you made this point that, and people accepted it. So, so you have to be a change maker, in other words. Otherwise society is not going to change the way it's happening, and of course change is inevitable, but if you are clear about in which direction you would like to bring a change, you work towards it. And I think women like you at this stage of profession and also life, you get much more clarity on where to nudge, where to press little bit more button, or where to really act in certain way. And these are the nuances which we learn over the years. Now is a tricky question for you. We are almost coming close to the last questions. A tricky question for you. It's a more hypothetical question. And before that, I also wish to make a disclaimer before this question, because architecture profession is gender neutral or genderless. So the issue of being woman or men actually should not arise. And it's my hope to live a day actually when we don't have to talk about being woman, we don't have to talk about gender in the profession. Here is a built environment, here is a problem, here are the ways one can solve it, whoever does it. So in the literature, I'm also reading through the feminine approach, the masculine approach of doing things or doing architecture. Uh, so the disclaimer is having more women leadership or voice in the profession, or and trying to engender the profession to make it gender equal, does not really ensure that things will be differently practiced or taught. So still, I would like to ask this question to you, and I think this is the only architecture question I have in the entire conversation. Imagine a situation, what is today, most of the well-known architects are male, dominated by them, by number, by their work. Imagine if it was all women. What do you think the buildings, the neighborhoods, and cities would have looked like? Not that I want to reach that stage that there are no male architects, but it's like, school में जैसे 100 marks के लिए हम जब काम करते हैं तब जाके we get 70, 60 or 80. So this is just a
I got
scenario
your
building.
point.
Yes, please. I'm keen to hear you.
Um, I would start with a famous person, Don't Manroop's quote. He
Hmm.
says, I'm not a female architect, I'm an architect.
Yes, I
Don't
yes.
categorize me with my gender, right?
Hmm.
And it also strives advocating for recognition based on your skill, your talent, your
Hmm.
capabilities rather than your gender. But
Hmm.
I am a strong feminist. I am a person who will say no when it is required.
Hmm.
Besides being in a completely male dominated family. So I think if there were all women in architecture, I may be wrong. That's completely my perception. I do not want
Yeah,
to
we are making a hypothetical situation
angry any
anyway.
men around me.
Yes, that's
I
not the
think
intention
the
also.
architecture would have been more context responsive.
Hmm.
Female is a person who looks after the needs of every family member,
Hmm.
paying minute test details, taking care of little things for different people in her family. So
More
the buildings
inclusive.
are the same. They are different, meant for different functions, but I feel a female architect can give more life to a building by
Mm.
thinking it in terms of its social, its physical, its infrastructural needs and requirements and the users, because they are more concerned, they are more, I don't say males are insensitive, but women are more sensitive. That
Mhm.
is my thought.
So the way we are living in our cities now, I mean, the only word I like actually the man-made disaster. Otherwise, I'm usually using the word humanly constructed. So what's your take on the way cities would look, yeah, apart from the buildings? Now, I mean, can you give me paint a picture for me of how cities would have been or
I
would
think they
be?
would be more inclusive, more resilient, more user friendly.
Hmm. So we can do that in bringing in a policy change, which is where a lot of changes are happening in the profession. Also, we see universal design becoming
Yes.
compulsory. We see a lot of people talking about sustainability in architecture and all. And I'm always questioning how come universal design and sustainability is not something fundamental in architecture? Why it has to be, specifically focused or specifically mentioned that this is building or a project which has taken into account sustainability or which is taken into account the universal design. Every building, every place has to take that into account. So that is where leadership will matter. And I keep looking at when Council of Architecture will also have its president, chairman, whatever it is, as women. Still, I think it's far to come. uh, and I would like to reiterate the point that by no means that this research is aiming or actually even envisioning a situation in the society that there will be all women architects and no men architects. And the very important thing that comes out of the scholarship of gender and feminism and women's contribution or in through history is that it brings inclusiveness. So the inherent nature of thinking for everyone. And I think we can take an analogy from life of mother, taking care of everyone's need in the house. Not that it is a responsibility of the mother, but somehow it's an own responsibility. So we'll move to the last two questions, and it's more on the message side of it. You actually started with the message when we had started the conversation. So it's a message for the younger generation, for people who have to come to architecture or would like to come to architecture, because I'm sure you are aware, because you are managing also the administration of your school and all. Architecture is not a known profession. It
Absolutely.
is it is so unfortunate that we live in cities, buildings, neighborhoods, and still not many people are aware who is an architect. There are many people who can't even pronounce the word in English, and Hindi word is not even used. What will be your message to the younger generation, to their parents, why they should join architecture? What's in there in this profession?
If you ask me for a message for women specifically,
No, it's for
I would.
everyone to join architecture. It's a gender neutral and genderless profession.
Okay. So, because I feel women need more attention, seeing the
Okay.
lesser number of women in the field.
Hmm.
So, I would like to give a message that you need
Sure.
to have confidence in yourself. You should embrace your unique perspective. You should
Hmm.
have the power to stand for your decisions.
Hmm.
Talking about general, why do you need to take architecture? Architecture is not just a profession, is not just a discipline.
Hmm.
Architecture is the entire society, the entire built environment, which needs more sensitive,
Hmm.
more people who can work at different fronts and bring out the best for others also.
Hmm.
So, as a profession, you take up medical, you take up engineering, half of your life you're working only for yourself.
Hmm.
As a doctor, you are God. You help patients, you cure patients. But when it comes to an architect, we build homes. It's a
Hmm.
place where you want to come back after everything you have done and explode in the world. It's your safe
Hmm.
place.
Hmm.
And we help you build that place. The
Hmm.
other places, your market, your offices, your recreational areas, everything is being done by the architect. But the most sensitive and most close to your heart is your home, and we build it. So I
Hmm.
feel there should be more people in architecture. They should, and seeing today's scenario, it is more important to work interdisciplinary also,
Hmm.
so that you can have experts from different domains
Hmm.
coming in, researching, talking, discussing a project, and bringing out something best. Because we need sustainable habitats, we need green buildings, we need zero energy efficient, and all those aspects coming in, green vertical spaces to deal with so many pressures of urbanization that we have created for our own self.
Yes.
So
Interesting, very interesting way that you put it up to the younger generation and, of course, their family members for them to decide. Who knows, tomorrow they are sitting here and talking to us about their life journey. And that brings me to the last question, and it, of course, it has to be on the gender aspect of it. Your message to younger generation and peer group at workplace, academia, uh, any platform for that matter. What simple behavioral change they should bring in themselves, every gender, that we are moving a step closer to engendering the profession, because the profession actually does not need any gender in that sense. It's just the functions certain gender perform in certain way that one has to be addressed. For that matter, kitchen, toilet, sleeping, anthropology, sociology, psychology, that's where otherwise it's not required. But as a human behavior, if we live in a patriarchal society, and at least the architecture scholarship on gender tells that there is a serious problem or exploitation of women in the profession. What do you think small behavioral changes we all can bring, and especially the younger generation, irrespective of their gender, that we are more sensitive towards women?
I didn't get the last word. We are more
More
sensitive.
sensitive towards including the women in the profession, so towards women for that matter. Small behavioral changes.
My chancellor sir says something very interesting when he narrates his story to us, and I'm
Mm.
quite convinced by what he says. He
Mm-hmm.
says, in your room, wherever you stay, just stick a paper and write on it, I can and I will do it. So
Mm.
when you read that every day, it gives you a kind of positive feeling and an inspiration to go higher and more than what you actually are.
Mm.
So my message for everybody is it's important to turn to convert your can'ts, because it's very easy to say I can't do this, I can't do this, I'm not for this, I'm facing this problem. Once you start changing it into your cans, okay, this is the problem and this can be a solution to it, it
Mm-hmm.
will help you convert, it will help you change your dreams into reality. So that's what I have done throughout my life.
Mm-hmm.
It seems very easy to my peers, to my colleagues, that she is sitting in an office where she commands. But what has gone behind it,
Yes.
nobody knows that.
Yes.
Nobody knows what I have gone through. And
We got
I
to know
have,
an ounce today. We just
yeah,
got to
and
know an
those
ounce.
little incidences, what, which, and when they changed you, and
Mm.
those sacrifices which made you stronger, made you
Mm.
feel that you need to stand up for yourself.
Mm. Mm.
That is very important.
Mm-hmm.
So
Very
I
interesting.
completely believe people will value you, the world will value you, success will follow you if you believe in yourself, if you value your own self.
Mm-hmm. Very interesting. I mean, personally, I'm also questioning the very idea of success because to me, success itself is masculine, but that's a different conversation we can have some other day. And I have always questioned why I need to be successful. But when I am reading literature and I'm talking about women, and by the way, Harveen, I must also share with you that I'm doing a similar work on women in water because this is where my main research lies in the water sector. Uh, it's important that we really understand what it is to be in the profession, how to conduct yourself. And you also laid out in a very nice way, articulated in nice way. And the more I'm interacting with people like you, emphatic, enlightened women like you, I am realizing the deep contribution women are making in not only the practice of the profession, but also helping us engender the profession to large extent. But for me, the most important thing that I am learning from all of you is the delimiting of the very way architecture is looked at. Because for a long, long time, I also had this confusion that architecture is only about making buildings. But then when more and more I'm meeting all of you, and I'm also struggling to really consider and help my friends consider that water is part of architecture. Let's start teaching water from water as a building material, water as an ecosystem, probably water as part of built environment. So just to give an idea to you, so it's very inspiring when I'm talking to people, more and more and women like you. I do hope you keep inspiring all of us, and it is really grateful to have learned an ounce of your journey. Of course, in an hour we cannot learn everything about life of a person. And I do wish that you continue your endeavors and keep us posted. And if you have any questions for me, this is the time that you may ask. Else, I'll do the vote of thanks. And it is also a good idea that there are people, your acquaintances around. If you would like to ask any questions, we can take it on record and have it in this conversation. Um, Anyone from the participants here. Thanks for joining us. Usually it's a one-to-one conversation, but I'm so happy to see there are so many people who are here and you have been hearing us for an hour now. You may also join this conversation and ask either Harveen or me if you have any question about it. One common question that comes out from the participants is the question on where are the other women's conversation. Do follow our social media handles. And we are usually not promoting it because it's part of research, but all these conversations are open access because we strongly believe that this is part of education. I do remember some time ago, there was a girl who studied my life as part of a final year project, and she was so convinced to do it as a final year thesis. But women in architecture is still not a thesis topic in architecture schools across the country. So we still have long way to go to delimit the very definition of architecture because schools expect them to make buildings in final year. So just to give you an idea, so if there are anyone, any questions by any participants, and if Harveen, you have any question for me, this is a good time to ask. No? Okay. Any question, you may raise your hand from the participants here. If not, I can also close the session with a vote of thanks. I don't see any digital hand raised or unmute. No. Okay. Okay. So that brings the conversation uh, to an end for now, but we have a long way to go. We have made a target of interacting with 100 women before we come up with the publication. But meanwhile, all the recordings are there, as I mentioned, in the YouTube, and you can watch them, listen to them, and you will hear those passionate women talking about it. We shall continue with our interaction on women in architecture to learn more about the endeavors of more women as we had today, Harveen. And I shall continue talking about it, doing little things in my little way, but do keep this in mind that women are really making a lot of contribution, even if they are not able to express it directly or they are not acknowledged. one of the major finding for me from the literature is that women themselves have not documented their work and disseminated, and that is why not many people know about their work. And I think it's a good learning that all of us start doing our own works documentation. It's not about promotion, it's about how you look at life, how you do your work, whatever you have done. It's beyond making a resume, it's more about sharing. Thank you so much, all of you, for joining today. And thanks, Dr. Harveen Bhandari, for taking out time. And I'm going to call you Harveen from here on, but I see we have a lot of similarities to work upon on women in architecture, on natural heritage for that matter. And I do hope that you will keep us posted and we will find our way somewhere we will work together. And let's see that when do we meet, because
Thank you
this is
so
the
much,
first we
Architect
meet.
Mansee,
Thank you.
for making me part of your research series. And I really love talking to, and I could feel that connection and vibes when I was talking to you, that we think quite alike. So I think with more of us feeling the same way, the world is going to change soon. And the scenario will change for women also, in profession, outside profession, once they learn to stand for themselves. That's more important.
I'm sure. Thank you so much. Thanks a lot. Please take care and we connect outside this session. Thanks
Thank
all
you.
of you. Bye bye.
Bye bye.